Welcome, folks. My name's Ken Witchman. This is another podcast that I'm doing on my Facebook page, which is Fishing and Hunting the Lakeland. And you know what? That's what we've been doing a lot of lately. Bear hunting, as a matter of fact, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And you know, if you don't like bear hunting, you don't like baiting bears, well, turn this off right now because this is not for you. And frankly, I am sick of these anti hunters who, as soon as you tell them you hunt bear, they definitely, raise their eyebrows. Why would you hunt bear? Well, number one, it's exciting as hell. Number two, they're great eating. And number three, it's one of the finest trophies in the bush, period. And really, if you don't want to, listen to this show, I appreciate that and turn it off right now. And don't send me messages saying you're just a coward, you're a killer, all that kind of stuff, because we're not. And really, I don't judge you, so why would you judge me? That's what I want to, talk about to start the show with. It's very important because bear hunting has really come a long way in the last 20 years, for example. It was really a kind of a fringe sport, for a hunter for the longest time. Now it's come mainstream. And the great thing about black bears is the fact that, there's a good population right across Western Canada, for that matter. British Columbia, Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba all have great populations of black bears, as a matter of fact. I'm going to clean my gun because that was what I came in here for in the first place, because this is the one I use for all my hunting. It's a 4570, as a matter of fact, and it's fired a couple rounds. I was lucky enough to take a bear. If you check out the Facebook page, as a matter of fact, you'll check out the animal that I took. And luckily, I have two great friends, Jason Lawden and TJ Rempel, who spent a lot of time working on that bait. And it's not easy. People think, well, sitting over a bait is it's the simplest way to hunt, easiest way to hunt. It's a sure thing every time. I'll tell you right now, it sure in the hell is not. It is hard work, always hard work. I mean, this year, especially with so much water that we've had, is essentially almost impossible to get into some areas that we do hunt. But you know what? We have got a couple great locations that we have been using over the years, and they have produced some big bears. TJ shot a very fine animal last year, as a matter of fact, and mine this year was a pretty nice bear type thing. Exciting day. The three of us are sitting on the ground, as a matter of fact, and that makes it completely different. When you sit on a ground and hunt bear, people look at a lot of the shows on TV, and they're up in a tree, for example, and shooting with bows and arrows and stuff like that, which TJ and Jason exclusively do, as a matter of fact. They do not use a rifle. I use this rifle right here, as a matter of fact. And they do, look at it that way. Well, you're safe up in the tree and stuff like that. To a point you are, and of course everybody's seen the shows where bears have climbed up to the top of the tree and you tried to get at the hunter and stuff like that. The ground is completely different. We are not sitting in a ground blind. We are sitting in an area that we made. Basically, we cut a bunch of trees down and stuff and kind of made a little natural nook 45 meters from an active bear bait. And there's nothing around us but a few trees and branches and stuff like that. And there's nothing between us and the animals that are out there. And if you've never tried it, it is one of the most exciting things you can do as a hunter out there. It is just amazing. The bush, for one thing, at that time of the year, in the spring and May and June and stuff like that, it's something you don't experience a lot of. Mostly in May and June, most people, me myself included, are fishermen, and we're out in the lake, so we don't think about what's happening, around you in the forest and stuff like that. But it's just amazing when you get out there and you're watching that bait and you're getting different bears coming in, and you got to know which one you want to take exactly, and that's a great thing about baiting. You can pick and choose. And the key thing is you're not going to be shooting sows with cubs. And that is so important because and it's just you're not allowed to do it. It's just a stupid thing to do. Even shooting a sow is not a good idea. Look for the big boars when you are out there. It is so much better when you get that big bear. And like I said, it is a fantastic trophy. You look at it, the hide is just beautiful this time of year. They're just coming out of hibernation. They're just getting healthy again. And you know what? They're hitting that bait. And the key thing with bait is we don't use a lot of stink on our bait. We use essentially oats and cooking oil, old cooking oil from different fast food chains and stuff like that. Seems to work very good for us, and then we will supplement it with a beaver carcass now and then, which does make a difference, especially when you get that wind blowing. One key thing I'll tell you, when you do set up a bait, when you're looking, say it's your first time you want to get out there and set up a bait, look for an area with water close by. Water is a key for a bear. They just love water. They hunt beavers there. They need water to live, obviously, to drink and stuff like that. Key part of their the way that they live in the bush. So think about that. One thing though, the bad thing is, and everybody will agree, the bugs are unbelievable. A thermocell is a key tool that you will need in your bear hunting arsenal. I guarantee you, if you do not have a thermocell, you will have a nasty, nasty day, even with bug spray and stuff like that. Speaking of spray, bow hunters, they've talked about this for years. They just don't like to bring a bow. A lot of them up into the tree stand or on the ground line. So they will bring some pepper spray with them and use that as a backup type thing. And there's a lot of talk out there, people using that concentrated wasp, the Raid stuff where you can spray it directly in a bear's face and stuff like that. And that, they say, will discourage an animal. But I tell you what, if he's that close, you may be in trouble already. I mean, they are a very unpredictable animal. The one I shot, I could not believe it. It's one of the few animals in my life. After it fell down, one shot dropped, made a nice clean shot through the shoulder with a 500 grain solid bullet. Animal, it took a few minutes to expire, unfortunately. And that is the tough thing about hunting, but it is hunting. You are killing something, and stuff don't die right away. Critters don't die right away. Anyways, it was amazing that the thing it took that heavy load like that, and it did move a little bit, not a lot. That's why you want to shoot it through the shoulders, number one. Number two, you want to there is good eating on a bear. I can't stress this enough. I've said this many times. When you take your bear, don't just take the hide, of course, to make a rug or even get it tanned, because that's a great idea. If you don't want to get a $1,000 rug, you can get your hide tanned, and makes a very great conversation piece and stuff like this. And definitely get the skull bleached. It is one of the coolest things that you will have. You have good trophy deer and stuff, fish hanging around. People, when they come into your trophy room or your man cave, if you will, they'll look at that skull, and that's 90% of them. That's the first thing they go to. It's totally amazing that they're looking at that a big carnivore that is definitely the top of the food chain. You're out there. Think about that when you're out there, and of course the meat, like I said, is fantastic meat. The hindquarters, just beautiful meat, especially on a bait where they've been eating the oats and stuff like that for a long period of time. Really builds up a nice layer of fat on there. Beautiful stuff. Save the fat too. It's another great thing. Check out YouTube and stuff like that. They'll tell you what you can do to manage your bear meat in a very predictable way, as a matter of fact. I'm looking at that patch. Holy cow, that's 2 rounds of the 45-70. I don't know if they picked that up on the camera, but it's pretty dirty, and that's just two rounds. That's not a day at the range. I mean, this gun is a big bullet. It's a 45 caliber bullet. 500 grain, as I mentioned before. I don't like to screw around with bears. With deer, I use 375. Single shot rifle, find it very, very exciting, as a matter of fact. One thing I did learn is when you do pull that trigger, make sure if you have a single shot rifle to chamber another round. So think about that when you're in the woods next time. I want to get back to bear hunting again. I get people talking to me from all over Canada. Where we live in Cold Lake, we have people from all over. And a lot of people from Eastern Canada will basically look at me and think I'm a cold-blooded killer for killing a bear. These are the same people who club baby seals on the head in their own provinces. And you know what? I think it's a lot tougher to go out there and get a black bear harvested humanely and quickly and setting up in a spot where they're going to come. I think that's a real challenge. Think about that next time you're in the woods, folks. My name is Ken Witchman. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. Stay tuned for another one. We're going to be talking about other stuff, of course, as the weeks go by. And I really appreciate all your comments. Like I said, this is Hunting and Fishing the Lakeland. My name's Ken Witchman. We'll see you real soon.